This is the nut off of the 4-inch Wilton vise. And normally this is not a problem, but on this one the pins were not drilled in one operation to hold the nut in the end cap. So when you saw me pounding those out in the first video, usually you can push one pin out of this nut and it'll go through the other hole and push, the other pin out. And then you can just, yank on that first pin and get them both out and then reinstall those same pins. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, this one was drilled, not in line with each other. So I'm gonna have to do something to get those out of there because right now they're, basically rubbing up against each other and you can't push them in any further. You push one of them in a little bit more, but anyway. So what we're gonna do is just to not spend too much time on this is go over here on the mill and just drill out that top section. It's gonna be quick and dirty. We're not gonna get real precise with it, just enough to remove enough material so we can get the pins out of there. Let's get set up. So this is just a drill blank, 250 thou. So that hole is a little bit, or the pin is a little over 250. And what we're going to use to cut it is my carbide spot drill, which is 1/4 inch. And we've got enough flute length that we can do everything with just a spot drill. There we go. One thing we need to work on now is getting some swivel locks made for the 4-inch Wilton. So this is the one that I actually bought these from a guy online that sells replacement Wilton parts, vice jaws, stuff like that. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and copy those. I bought those back before I had a lathe, so I had no option to make them myself. But really all it is about 1-inch stock, cleaned up, tapped for 1/2-13, and then drilled for a cross handle here. I'm not exactly sure how he made this. I'm assuming there's a split somewhere that he's then Loctited shut or something like that. I don't see how else you could do it the way these are designed. So anyway, let's start with making the bodies of the 2 swivel locks we need, and we'll complement them with some new carriage bolts that'll lock from underneath. Really all we're trying to do here is clean it up. So got a pretty slow feed rate and not taking very much. All I want to do is get the mill scale off of there, and then we can polish with a little bit of emery cloth and Scotch-Brite. The dimension of this is totally arbitrary, doesn't matter. So we'll just chuck the parts up into the 4-jaw chuck here and clean them up that way. One thing I've got a big stack of they came with some other tools I bought one time, is these little copper strips, and I've got them in aluminum as well. I believe they are some sort of a fuse strip. I don't know exactly how they're used. If you stack them up, and that gives you the amp load that they can survive or whatever, I'm not really sure. But anyway, they work really good for stuff like this. They're pretty thin, but you wrap it around a part like this, and you've got kind of 2 layers on most of the part, which is plenty enough to protect it. We're not gonna be doing a whole bunch of heavy machining on this little part, so that is more than sufficient. Get this guy dialed in. Not too bad. First, what we need to do, man, that one's seemed like somebody was kind of loose there. Okay. So I've got the compound turned around to plus 20 degrees. I guess that's plus, maybe it's not. And we've got the power compound engaged, so just gonna put a nice little angle on here. I'll do some passes by hand, and then to get the final finish, we'll do under power. Go a little bit more. Okay, turning is complete. We need to drill a cross hole through these guys so that our little handle can slide through. It's just going to be a 3/8 inch hole with a nice big chamfer on it, so that if we make the handles the same way that these are, that nice bevel on there, then they kind of seat down in that chamfer. But we haven't decided on that yet. So first things first, we need to find our 3 edges, each side and the end of it. And do half function on the DRO, and that will tell us where we need to be for center. We're just going to do a little starter hole with the carbide spot drill. Okay. Oops. Ha. got the vise all brazed up, and I just used a aluminum grinding wheel to clean off the excess bronze. And we've just got it clamped down here on the mill table to clean up the anvil section. Might as well, if we're going through all this work, may as well make that nice and flat and parallel to the underside of the vise. And the way I got it aligned was just with an indicator in the drill chuck there. Obviously not going to be super critical, but as you can see, it's a little bit wavy on there, but we're more or less lined up true. So let's get an end mill in there and clean up the back of this vise. Okay, so we're just touching there. Let's get our X set. I think that'll work. All right, so I think we're just going to use our quill DRO here, and we'll go, I'm not going to go down too much at a time. Let's just do 5 to start, just in case we find any nasty surprises. Not too bad. Let's go down another, let's just go down 10. A little bit of porosity in the casting there, it looks like. All right, let's just go another, we'll just kind of dust off another, I don't know, few thou. Go back to our 0 on X. Okay, we'll get this cleaned up and removed from the mill, and then it'll be time to do, I guess, final cleaning, tape it up, and then, well, actually, I guess what we'll do is reassemble the cap on the back and then get everything cleaned and taped, and then we can paint. I think we're ready to go to reassemble this guy. We've got our nut and our end cap. We can kind of figure out which direction it goes just by aligning the end cap up with the rest of the vise. And if it's not, there's a little lip there, it's because it's not in the right position. No, I guess it was right before. Trying to decide the best way to do this. Okay. Pretty confident that we've got all the loose crud off of there. So what we're going to do now is use grease and wax remover. This stuff just works really well. It's for preparing for car paint and stuff like that. And I'm using some wipe ball wipers rather than paper towels because these will hold up to chemicals a lot better, won't start shedding. That's why you don't just clean off the rust and start painting. So that makes your likelihood of your paint sticking go way down. Time for the tedious part, tape. We are all taped up and ready to paint. I'm not going to bore you with that. You guys have seen me paint a couple of times already. So I will get probably 2 coats on this and then assemble it and present it. So I'm going to cut off the part 2 video here, and then we'll do a short reveal video once this is done and the baby bullet is done. So we'll keep you in a little bit of suspense, but I think you guys know what it's going to look like and especially what color it's going to be. Thanks for watching.